So just a quick diversion from work on Ocean Melody to let you know a bit about what's going on. So some of you may know that Andy's not actually very well at the moment. The stress of trying to get 2 boats ready and all sorts of things has put him in a pretty bad place. So he's taking a bit of a back step from some of the episodes. You may not see him quite as much. As you know, over the years, Andy and I have put our heart and soul into Still Melody, and we know a lot of you are really invested in seeing her in the water. The fact is, we bought Still Melody to facilitate us in going sailing, but the fact is she is now stopping us from going sailing, and she's actually our anchor to land. And the other fact is that I now need Andy to really focus on getting our home ready Ocean Melody to go sailing, to put his mental and physical strength into that, and also into looking after himself. He's spread himself too thinly across these projects and he's at breaking point. And I've put my foot down and I've said enough is enough. But I know he's super worried about letting you all down, as I am too. But we've got a dream that we're working towards, and we've got to do it. So we need to leave by the end of April. So I have made the decision, and I've told Andy that we now need to put Still Melody up for sale as she is. As his wife, as his partner, I can't see him being so stressed about owning and completing 2 boats. So getting to the point, we need to sell Still Melody urgently. She's costing us money and she's stopping us from doing what we set out to do. So later this week I will be filming and releasing a show round video so I can put her up for sale so people can see the current condition that she is in. But we are offering her for sale now to you guys as she is on a closed auction basis. So you can email me, my email address is on the screen, with any offers over £14,000. And then in a week's time we'll sell her to the highest offer. Obviously if in that time she doesn't sell, then we'll put her on eBay. This is really hard for me as well. You know, we love that boat, but we've got things more important that we want to achieve than continuing to work on Still Melody. And I just want to say from the bottom of our hearts that we're really sorry that we didn't complete her, and we hope that you stick with us through our journey on Ocean Melody and travelling and exploring the world as we originally set out to do, and we will be leaving very soon. So there you go, that's it. Still Melody is officially for sale. Closed auction will end at 6 p.m. next Wednesday. Email me with your offers on the email address below. Thank you everyone, back to the episode and back to some boat work.
Well, as you've seen, I've been dealing with this tank again. Ugh. Right. So when I got back and lifted the lid off the tank, there was some water in it. It's been about a month, maybe 3 weeks, and there was about 15 litres of water. So it's coming in from somewhere, isn't it? What I've done is I've emptied the water out again. I've dried the tank very, very thoroughly. There was also some water in the saloon bilge, and there was a little bit of water in the bilge by the heads. Not a lot. But I think what's happening is this. Water is coming down the mast, which is normal for a keel stepped mast. It gets in, you know, where all the wiring is and stuff. Comes down the mast, comes out the bottom of the mast, runs through the saloon, and it pulls at this end, and it's making its way into the tank there. Now, this here is a metal baffle, okay? You can see how much cleaner the tank is. I've just been grinding in there, so there's a bit of dust. But this is a metal baffle, and the purpose of the baffle is to stop fuel sloshing around forward and aft in the tank. But there are a couple of other things to point out. Firstly, there's a hole in the side of the tank there, which at some point has gone to the outside of the boat and it's being glassed over. Now, I don't think any water's getting in there, but here's something interesting. This bit here is another metal baffle. Okay, this bit here is another baffle, and it's got the same cutout at the top as this bit here. Look, the same shape. Look, you've got that kind of semicircular shape in this one, and a semicircular shape there, and it's clearly been fiberglass. Now that's not broken out, but I think it's getting in there from the saloon. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to mix up some thickened epoxy, and I'm going to fill that area with thickened epoxy. I need to do a little bit more prep first. This is a mess, but do bear in mind I'm working upside down, head down in the tank, so and I'm having to support my entire body weight on my left arm, and I've got really bad tendonitis and problems with that arm anyway. So if you're looking at this thinking, Christ, I could do a better job than that, you're probably right. But this is ridiculously difficult. Okay, that's shit, isn't it? It's just impossible to get that in there, but all I can do is leave it to set overnight, mix up some more tomorrow, perhaps a bit of a thicker batch, get some more in. I'll bring some cloth and put some Biax over it as well. I'm like 99.9% positive that's where the moisture's getting in. So that's the next stage.
wondering what on earth am I up to, and I have definitely been questioning my life choices in this project. But look at this, and then I'm gonna make it again, but I want to show you because I'm very excited. I stopped filming because it was 1 o'clock in the morning and I was tired and I couldn't be bothered. I have a sprung mattress for the four-peak. I've done one, I've got one more to do, which I'm going to show you. It's going to be so much more comfortable than that foam thing. So I've moved all the springs to make it into the shape that I want. I'm now going to cut these metal bars that go around the edge. I've already cut one, but there's another 2 to go through. I would use a angle grinder, but that means that I'd have to take it outside. So I've bulked this out with wadding to stop the spring, so you can't feel the springs. And I am going to stitch some fabric, hand stitch. So it won't be as neat as if I did it with a sewing machine, but I'm just going to hand stitch around there. It's always going to have a fitted sheet and stuff on anyway. And then I'll probably actually put some foam against here before I stitch the bottom, just to take up the shape, because the boat sort of goes out like that and this is straight, so I need to bulk out the top slightly. The only piece of fabric I've got left is this scrap, so I need to hope that it fits, but it looks like it will. Right, before I do that though, I need to take my friend's dogs for a walk and take Ollie and Jack down to the beach. Where we're staying is absolutely beautiful. I'll take you down the beach with me. We're looking after 2 little cockapoos called Pudding and Digby, and they absolutely love the beach. Right, can you get the leads on the dogs, please? Digby, come here. Put in. You just hold Ollie for 2 seconds while I get his carrier on.
So it's the next morning and I'm back, and I'm going to continue on with that tank. There's the area at the top that I need to continue filling, which I'm going to do, but I've cut this piece of Divinyl Armacell PET foam, and I'm going to use that basically as a fillet in that corner and glass over it with some glass cloth, so it should be very watertight, diesel tight and secure repair when it's done. Okay, so I've done another load of filler into that crack, and I've got to wait for that to harden off before I can put the foam fillet and fiberglass over the top. What I need to make now is I'm going to make a standoff flange to go over that where I've cut out the new lid, and the reason I want to do that is if we got water down there and it's kind of sloshing around, I want a bit of a lip, maybe an inch high. Just the thickness of this foam would be fine. So I'm going to create a border all the way around the edge and cut it out of a piece of that foam, and then I'll glass the bolts into that as standoffs. So you'll see, watch. So I've fixed that hole, and I think that hole is where the water is getting in from the saloon, as I've said. If it isn't, then I'll keep looking and I'll find it and I'll fix it. But I'll fix that one. I've also made the lippy thing here, and I'm going to make a stainless steel lid to go on that. But the bolts are actually glassed into the bottom of this foam, so I can then put this down, glass over the whole thing, and bond it down properly, and then the stainless steel lid will go onto this with a rubber flange, and it means that any water that is just sat there won't come up over this lip. That's the theory anyway. Work continues in the diesel tank. I've come back the next day. Obviously all this happens over several days. You see it in one episode, but it happens over several days because we've got to wait for things to cure and set. So I'm just going to have a look at that fiberglassing I did last night or yesterday afternoon. Now I was going to glass in the fiberglass, the foam fillet, but I don't actually think I need to, because I've had a quick look this morning and it looks to have done a really solid repair. Come and see what you think. Now this is the repair I did yesterday, and it has been raining and it is dry as a bone. So I'm going to carry on as though that repair is done, because I can, you know, time is of the essence. I want to do a proper job, but I don't want to do a job twice if I don't need to. I think that's adequately and suitably sealed. No moisture is getting in through here anymore into this diesel tank. what I've got to do is figure out if any is getting in from anywhere else. There has been a little bit of rain overnight, but not a lot. So the proof of the pudding will be if there's a lot of rain, and if it finds its way in somewhere, because it's difficult to tell with a bit of drizzle. And you could sort of say, oh, I'll put a hose pipe over the boat, but you'd have to soak the entire boat, which is a bit counterproductive. But let's see how we get on cleaning the rest of the tank. I'm going to do some more cleaning, and then I'm contemplating painting the tank out in epoxy if I can get it, you know, cleaned enough, and if I can do enough surface prep. Even if I can just prep some areas and paint some areas, and the bits that I can't prep properly, you know, don't put paint on them because it'll just flake off. But we'll see. Okay, so more cleaning, but I'm sure you're as sick of being in that tank as I am, so I'm just going to cut to when I've done as much cleaning as I can and show you that. Houston, we have a problem. There is a problem. Right, at the bottom of the tank, right at the bottom of the tank, about an inch from the bottom, the inside of the tank's been coated with epoxy, gel coat of sorts. I don't think it's actually gel coat, I think it's just epoxy. And at some point there's been like an end, presumably they've stopped for the day and then carried on the next day. And where the join is, there's been just a hairline crack between the two, you know, 1 day's worth of epoxying and the next day. That has over time opened up a fraction, and there's water trapped between the layers, or at least that's what I hope it is. The hull itself is about that thick, so I have no worries about the water coming in from the outside. I think because the tank has been full of rainwater before we bought the boat for years and years and years, that's what's happened. I've just been down there trying to clean up around it because I need to try and effect some sort of repair in there, don't I? But you can't just epoxy or polyester, you can't use resin on oily, nasty, dirty old fiberglass. The boat's made of polyester, so I can use polyester to do the repair, or I can use epoxy to do the repair. I'll figure out which is easier. But let me show you this crack. I'm worried, but not worried, if you know what I mean. It's not a boat sinker, but it's a complication we could really do without. This is the crack I'm talking about. Now, as you can see, you might be able to see, I've actually already started grinding that with a flat wheel. And I can just about get the flat wheel to it to clean up the surface so that I can try and blob some epoxy on there. But I don't know how I'm going to get any epoxy or any resin on there because I can't reach it with my fingertips. I'm going to have to try and get epoxy on there with a spatula or something. It's just going to be really, really difficult to get a repair in there. The other place that I've got to try and get some is here, where there is a moulding hole. There's a couple of these around the boat, and I want to try and fill those as well, because I wonder, you know, if when they lined this tank, if water has got in there and got between the layers of the lining of the tank and the hull, and there's just water trapped in there. Is that another little tiny drill hole below that one? This is hard work. Right, YouTube channels with people with boats sometimes involve people doing exceptionally stupid things in order to achieve an end. And what you're out to see, I would like to bet this is the stupidest thing you have ever seen anybody do on a boat. I'm not proud of it. I expect your hatred in the comments section. Be my guest. But I can't think of another way of doing this. So fill your boots, criticize all you like, but this is possibly the stupidest thing you will ever have seen on a YouTube sailing channel. Okay, after that bit of ridiculous stupidity, let's just see if it's made any difference. I'm not going to clean the whole tank like that, that would be silly. But I want to see if it's cleaned it up enough that I can kind of get some resin on there to do a repair. So that's the area with the crack. Ground it back. I need to get some acetone on there to clean it up. What I'm actually doing as well is I'm using the GoPro and I'm watching the footage back on my phone, because I just can't even see from up here what you can see now on the screen. Right, I'm going back in the tank again now. I'm fairly confident I've got that area clean enough, but I'm not going to dollop a load of epoxy and chop strand or anything on there just yet, because I want it to be really dry. And also I want to leave it and see if any more water is weeping out of that area. I don't think it is, but we'll see. In the meantime, I'm going to go in there with my battery sander and just continue prepping that surface, because ideally I'd like to paint the whole tank out in some epoxy if I can get it clean enough. Other people have said to me, no, don't bother, there's no point, once you put diesel in there it'll just flush itself through, and it's, you know, it's just a diesel tank, there's no point putting another layer of epoxy paint in there. But we'll see. I just want to get it as clean and as nice as I can before I reinstate the tank. It is still weeping, you know, while I'm here sanding. Little tiny bit of water with the bottom of the tank again. Okay, so something else that I need to do while that is drying out is put things away. As I say, I'm I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for that seepage in that little crack there to just stop. I've got the camera down there just videoing to see exactly where it's coming from, and I'm pretty sure that it's just paint water that's got behind that layer, at that top layer of gel coat or layer of paint or whatever. It's not coming in from outside. It's just that the diesel tank was so full of water when we bought the boat that over the years it's kind of got behind things, and I'm just, you know, I've flaked off as much as I can. I've got to wait for that to dry out, and then I think I found a way to do the repair. While I'm waiting for that though, Melissa wants me to template these windows in the aft cabin, which is where the kids are going to be sleeping. So one of them is going to be dead easy because it's this side. The other one is intersected by the heads. And I've also got to at some point get this blue masking tape off. That's a job for another day. I know it looks like the boat is a complete and utter disaster and it's just a mess, and it is because I'm doing such a lot of work here, and I'm here for a few hours and then, you know, trying to get Steel Melody sorted to sell and all of that stuff. So the boat's a bit of a tip, but it's actually, we could be ready to leave in, you know, 3 days if we had to, but we're also aware we want to get out of here. So we're going to be gone in the next, well, by the end of April, first week of May at the latest. First week of May we'll be out of here and we'll be heading somewhere else. But we haven't made that announcement yet, so you'll have to wait for that. Right, I've made those templates for Melissa to make some curtainy type blinds for the aft cabin. This border that I'm making for the top of the tank for the lid, I'm not happy with it being in foam. I think it's going to be too flimsy. I won't be able to crank down really hard on it to put pressure on the seal. So I'm actually going to scrap that idea and make it in plywood instead. So I'm going to take it home and use it to template one in plywood in, well, I say home, back to the house, to the workshop. So I'm going to clear up here, take that, some fiberglass in cloth and resins and gloves and tools and stuff like that, so that I can make a new one of these back at the house. Meanwhile, obviously, like I say, Melissa is doing tons and tons of upholstery.